You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Every day on the job there's a moment. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't, where everything hangs in the balance. A loose bolt, a missed clip, a bad assumption. Or maybe the opposite, a choice made right. The right PPE, the right lockout, the right conversation at just the right time. Some folks call that luck. Here on Safety Wars we call it something else. The kiss of safety, the quiet moment where a safe choice gives you another sunrise, another paycheck, another night with the people you love. And the truth, no policy, no regulation, no binder full of procedures means a thing unless you live it, unless your team lives it, unless safety isn't a chore. It's a culture, a war we fight every day, one small decision at a time.
Hi, this is Jim from Safety Wars. Before we start the program, I want to make sure everyone understands that we often talk about OSHA and EPA citations, along with some other regulatory actions from other agencies, legal cases, and criminal activity. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Proposed fines are exactly that, and they are often litigated, reduced, or vacated. We use available public records, news accounts, and press releases. We cannot warranty or guarantee the details of any of the stories we share, since we are not directly involved with these stories, at least not most of the time. Enjoy the show.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Hello, everybody. how do you like the new song there? That's from the new release from Safety Warrior. The Kiss of Safety. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're probably going to be releasing some Thanksgiving safety. Hold on. Yeah. I hate it when that happens. I cough right when I need to be on the air. How's everybody doing out there tonight? Yeah, we're going to be releasing some safety-themed Thanksgiving music. We were able to try it out this weekend at Camp Woollawah, Rah Woollawah, with the Troop 97 Scouts. We had a sing-along. Everybody got a kick out of it. Yes, it is a sing-along campfire type song. Based on a true story about a turkey that took flight. Anyway, yeah, you may hear it at the end of today's show. I don't know. We have to see how it goes. So where have I been? No, talking about athletics, juvenile athletics, child athletics. What are we calling it? I don't know. Travel league teams for baseball. So, my son had, let's see. My son has been in travel league baseball, I think, for 6 or 7 years now. Various teams. And we stuck with one franchise for... I guess it started out as one, and then it went to another one, and then it went to another one, and now we're on our third. Is it our third or fourth? Something like that. So what we have here is I spent last night, rather than on the air, the team, and they buy sports teams. You have different investor groups and everything buys sports teams. The one that bought my son's team is a investment group. I'm not going to share the name here. I'm not exactly sure if we're allowed to do that, but it's an investment group, and I was pretty impressed with the presentation they had, introducing themselves and everything else. Same coach, same facility, well, upgraded. The facility is seriously upgraded from what we've had. This is horrible here with that. Hopefully we can clear up the video. And we've been very happy with the team, very happy with the coaches, and just exciting new things. And the presentation that we had was pretty phenomenal there. They did a great job there, and more to come in the future on that if I choose to share things. But what we found out was that this group is consisting, has a media company. It's actually one of the largest media companies in the world that you've never heard of for the sporting events that they cover here. So some other news today. We had, since the government shutdown is over, we now have the press releases coming again. So we can find out, to have some transparency on everything that's going on. Some things are still behind. For example, Bureau of Labor Statistics that releases a lot of statistics that they're behind by about a month and a half, because their statistics often are based on actual surveys of people, and they collect surveys plus the economic data plus if you've been following along all year, they mesh all this stuff together and they come up with figures. And there's been some controversy as of late with them, with how they're doing that. They don't know why the things are going out that way, or turning out that way. So, for example, we had to revise a whole bunch of unemployment numbers over the summer. No one knows why that is. Another one that we track here, census.gov, here. They have not had any new information coming out since August. Basically, there was a press release and the Census, they were advertising the Census Bureau jobs available for the 2026 census test there. And I tell you what, I was talking to the Census Bureau person that came out to our neighborhood last time, and this was like the third or fourth census he was involved with. He just loves doing the census. God bless him. That's the every 10-year census. And here we were one of the first ones here to talk about this go around. I think we were might have been the first radio show to talk about why are we collecting all this data. I think that's a valid question, especially since we've gone through the shutdown and we've gone through all of these upheaval where we've had the shutdown, we've had a lot of people let go, a lot of people laid off, a lot of people furloughed, a lot of programs cut. I think it's worth it every once in a while if we go back and we revisit why we have these agencies and what they're doing, and let's reevaluate why we have them. Why do we have them? What are they doing? And everything else. And to revalidate. Businesses all the time have changes. Where they say, wow, we have this old program. We have this person sitting here doing nothing. What do they do? What is your job? And that person has to justify their job. Normal course of business. Happens in the safety industry all the time. Why do we have a safety person? And you have to learn to speak up for yourself. Say, well, this is what I do. This is blah, 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 blah. Now, if someone asks you to write your job description, watch out, because that's probably a leading indicator that you're out the door real quick. So you got to watch. The other, and that's what I want to say. That's what I'm going to open up with, is that we have new and more exciting information going on here, hopefully until at least January 30th, roughly, with this. Hopefully they can make a deal here. A lot of news out there. Tomorrow, I'm going to assume we're going to be on the air. I will cover all the safety news in the popular press, and plus, that's what I wanted to get to, these press releases here, and exactly what they are. So we're going to go, and we're going to jump right into Health and Human Services. Actually, you know what? Let us take a brief commercial break, and we'll go and go to it. So let's go here.
From the front lines of the safety war, it's Safety Wars, with your host, Jim Posel on Safety FM. Get ready to face the harsh reality.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that is designed to actually address and assess your hazards and liabilities and is not standardized baloney from generations ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call me, Jim Posel, at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you are receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces. Here's an oldie but a goodie.
Blaming yourself for workplace accidents, your safety is being exploited. Imagine being publicly humiliated, yelled at, and forced to admit to mistakes you never made. Welcome to the world of safety struggle sessions. Originally from the Chinese Cultural Revolution, these sessions were nightmarish spectacles. Intellectuals and so-called enemies of the state were dragged through the mud, verbally and physically abused, all to break their spirit and force conformity. Fast forward to today. In some workplaces, this sinister tactic is making a comeback. Employers push employees to confess to safety violations, deflecting blame from themselves. Imagine the psychological toll, the stress, the fear, the constant pressure. But here's the truth. Your safety should never be weaponized against you. Stand up, speak out, and don't let struggle sessions become your reality. Let's expose the brutal truth and demand a safer, more just workplace. Want to dive deeper into workplace safety? Check out the Safety Wars podcast by Jim.
Well, we got cut off there. I wonder what happened. All right. So, all right. Here is on the Health and Human Services. So let's see what we have here. HHS backs innovation for America's AI innovation for America's caregivers. This was from yesterday. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services today announced a new $2 million caregiver artificial intelligence prize competition to support the 1 in 4 Americans serving as caregivers for older adults and people with disabilities. This initiative, through HHS's Administration for Community Living, recognizes millions of caregivers who support aging relatives and loved ones with disabilities. Their compassion and commitment form the backbone of America's long-term care system, helping older adults and people with disabilities live with dignity and independence at home and in their communities. Despite their essential role, many family and friend caregivers remain unseen and unsupported, often facing emotional, physical, and financial strain. Nearly half of caregivers report worsening mental health, and only 1 in 4 say they are in good physical health. As staffing shortages and high turnover continued in direct care, family caregivers are being asked to do more with fewer resources. So what are they doing? The AI prize competition will fund and recognize innovators at developing tools for supporting caregivers, including family, friends, and direct care workforce, in providing safe, person-centered care at home. Support employers by improving efficiency, scheduling, and training in the caregiving workforce. So they're going to have a prize competition. Right, this is from Acting Administrator, Community Living Administrator, and Assistant Secretary for Aging, Mary Lazar. Wow, what a title. Through this prize competition, we aim to identify technologies that empower caregivers and expand access to high-quality care at home. ACL is committed to advancing scalable, practical solutions that improve the lives of millions of Americans who give and receive care every day. Longtime FDA innovator, this is from November 11th, appointed as Director of the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the U.S. FDA today announced that Richard Pazdur, MD, has been appointed Director of the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research. Pazdur is a 26-year veteran of the FDA and the founding director of its Oncology Center of Excellence. Right, and that's what's going on. Before this, Dr. Pazdur was professor of medicine at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston, Texas. Okay, great. Good luck to you. HHS advances women's health and removes misleading FDA warnings on hormone replacement therapy. This was mentioned in the news. I think we talked about it here, but this is the official press release. This is from November 10th. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services today announced historic action to restore gold standard science in women's health after more than 2 decades of fear and misinformation surrounding hormone replacement therapy. That's HRT. The U.S. FDA is initiating removal of broad black box warnings for HRT products for menopause. HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and FDA Commissioner Marty Makary made the announcement at a press conference at HHS with more than 200 people in attendance, including Second Lady of the United States, OSHA Vance, and Secretary of Labor, Lori Chavez de Raymer. Women have used HRT products for decades to relieve menopausal symptoms. However, their use plummeted in the early 2000s when the FDA applied boxed warnings following a Women's Health Initiative study that found a statistically non-significant increase. So let me get that. Statistically non-significant increase in the risk of breast cancer. So was it bad or not? The average age of women in the study was 63 years, over a decade past the average age of women experiencing menopause. And study participants were given a hormone formulation no longer in common use. So in other words, it doesn't apply, that study. The FDA is initiating removal of the box warnings from comprehensive. So, again, there's been some confusion, apparently, and they're straightening things out. And we've talked about women's health here on the program before when it comes to a lot of this stuff. So, for example, and the mental health issues dealing with menopause, and a very significant percentage of the population on antidepressants and other things that are related to that. Now, there were some women, right, I'm that age and a little younger, where women start to go through, as they used to call, the changes. Right, back when we were kids. How's your mom? She's going through the changes. Well, where did you hear that word? Oh, she was talking to so-and-so. They said they're both experiencing the changes. And what was out there was, some of them now that age, right? And what I'm finding out, and this is not a family member, I'm not going to share who this was, where a very close female friend was going through a very hard time, going through the situation like a lot of women do. And her mental health was being extremely negatively impacted. So what she ended up doing was she went to an actual legitimate doctor, had a lot of blood work done and everything else. And what did they do? They ended up giving her hormone replacement therapy and some other stuff. I spoke to her a couple of weeks ago, and she was doing fantastic. She said, Jimmy, you're not going to believe it. I feel like my old self again here. And, that's the way it is. But, again, messing with the hormones, especially with the female hormones, causes a lot of issues. Psychologically often, physically, endocrinology-wise, and everything else. So always go to a doctor, go to an endocrinologist, go to somebody who knows what the hell they're doing with this stuff, because it's not something you really want to play with here. There was some, what do you call it? Some, women who went on some alternative. I mean, they're using stuff off label, certain hormones. I'm not going to mention what those are. And I tell you what, there was a big long article saying, wow, you wouldn't believe when we went off label for some of this stuff. Yeah, they got a little bit, we'll just say, what they described, it was a legitimate medical article. It was, I tell you. So, all 50 states seek to transform health with CMS. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services today announced that all 50 states submitted the applications for the $50 billion Rural Health Transformation Program. This is from November 5th. A landmark initiative created under the Working Families Tax Cuts legislation to strengthen health care across rural America. This application period opened from September 15th through November 5th, invited every state to design a plan for transforming its rural healthcare system. So what do they do? What's this money going for? Make rural America healthy again. Right. Support the rural health initiatives to promote preventative care, sustainable access, ensure rural providers can become long-term access points for care by improving efficiency and sustainability. Workforce development, build and retrain a strong rural healthcare workforce, innovative care, test new models of care delivery to improve rural health outcomes at lower the cost of care, and tech innovation. Now, let me comment on this one here. During our disaster preparation month, that's every September, we often go into, I think we've gone every time we've gone into it, the issue of choosing the right place to retire and the right place to live if you have health issues. So even in places like northern New Jersey, where I'm most familiar with, we have a situation where we have basically a rural hospital. I know New Jersey is not just the 10 miles on either side of the Turnpike or Parkway. I mean, there's stuff back there. You go back there like where the infamous Camp Crystal Lake is, a.k.a. Camp Novi Scobo. from Friday the 13th fame. Up there, you're a long way away from a hospital, and the rural hospital in that area is not set up for everything that you needed to do. So what ends up happening, people usually go there, and then they end up going to Morristown or in Hackensack or something like that if they have a serious problem, because there are different kinds of hospitals. So if that's a lot of people don't have that luxury of being able to be mobile and moving. So it is an advisable thing to do to go and get people in localities, the urgent care centers, the country doctors, whatever you have there, to train them and have better facilities there. Very good idea. I know I had a family member, a cousin of mine, who passed away because he lived in a rural area, and the emergency services were on overload with 2 or 3 fatal vehicle accidents in the same day at almost the same time. So he was unable to get the help that he needed, and it was not successful. We'll leave it at that. So we're going to go to our next commercial break, and we'll get right back to you.
Strapped tight, ain't no joke. Gotta hold steady, can't let it choke. Don't rock the safety boat. Keep it smooth, keep it afloat. Dance on that, but don't provoke. Don't rock the safety boat. Don't rock the safety boat. Feet tapping fast, decks getting slick. Moonlight flashing, shadows play their tricks. Hold the line, baby, don't let it split. One wrong move and we're in the thick. Ooh, steady hand, steady heart. Don't let the rhythm fall apart. Don't rock the safety boat. Keep it smooth, keep it afloat. Dance on that, but don't provoke. Don't rock the safety boat. 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 Shake it loose, but hold the rails. Groove so hard it tips the scales. Feel the beat beneath your feet, but don't let it knock you off your seat.
Blaming yourself for workplace accidents, your safety is being exploited. Imagine being publicly humiliated, yelled at, and forced to admit to mistakes you never made. Welcome to the world of safety struggle sessions. Originally from the Chinese Cultural Revolution, these sessions were nightmarish spectacles. Intellectuals and so-called enemies of the state were dragged through the mud, verbally and physically abused, all to break their spirit and force conformity. Fast forward to today. In some workplaces, this sinister tactic is making a comeback. Employers push employees to confess to safety violations, deflecting blame from themselves. Imagine the psychological toll, the stress, the fear, the constant pressure. But here's the truth. Your safety should never be weaponized against you. Stand up, speak out, and don't let struggle sessions become your reality. Let's expose the brutal truth and demand a safer, more just workplace. Want to dive deeper into workplace safety? Check out the Safety Wars podcast by Jim.
Right, I guess I gotta redo that, man. Cut it off short. I don't know. Very frustrating on that. Anyway, we are back. So let's get on over to the OSHA news here. So this is from the U.S. Department of Labor. Let's see what we got going on here. United States seeks Mexico's review of alleged denial of workers' rights at a Yazaki facility. The United States has invoked the Rapid Response Labor Mechanism in the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, to review whether workers at Grupo Yazaki, SADCV, located in the city of Leon in the state of Guanajuato, Mexico, are being denied the right to freedom of association and collective bargaining. The United States has suspended liquidation of unliquidated entries of goods into this country from the Yazaki facility, which manufactures automotive components, wire harnesses, and electronic components. The request is another strong step by the Trump administration to ensure our trade partners play by the rules and do not undercut American workers by skirting labor laws. So, the U.S. Trade Representative and the Secretary of Labor co-chair the Interagency Labor Committee for Monitoring and Enforcement. On October 20th, 2025, the ILC received an RRM petition from, let's see if I can do this now, Sindicato Independiente Nacional de Trabajadores y Trabajadores de la Industria Automotriz, Sentia for short, a Mexican independent union. Petition alleges that Yazaki and an incumbent union at the facility have violated workers' rights by interfering in employees' union activity. So, they're being investigated and everything else. U.S. Department of Labor awards $700,000 for continuation of disaster relief jobs training for Georgia residents affected by Hurricane Debbie. The U.S. Department of Labor today announced the award of an additional $700,000 in grant funding to Georgia for continued employment and training services for residents affected by severe storms in 2024. On August 5th, 2024, Hurricane Debbie made landfall as a Category 1 storm near Sinahatchee, Florida, and moved through the southeast Georgia as a tropical storm. Debbie caused significant infrastructure damage in Georgia, blocking and collapsing many roads, destroying public facilities, and denying access to local businesses. FEMA issued an emergency declaration enabling Georgia to request federal assistance for recovery efforts in the following counties, and they list them all. So that's basically a grant there for these folks. U.S. Department of Labor is from today, and awards more than $10.5 million in grants to support mine safety health training across the nation. U.S. Department of Labor announced today that its MSHA has awarded more than $10.5 million in grants to organizations in 45 states, the Navajo Nation, and the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands to reduce mining accidents. What the hell are they doing mining in the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands? And illnesses to reduce mining accidents, injuries, and illnesses by supporting programs such as safety and health courses. Restoring America's global economic dominance starts with our hardworking miners, and it's the Labor Department's responsibility to help them accomplish this by keeping them safe on the job, said Secretary of Labor Lori Chavez DeRemer. The administration will continue doing everything we can to protect blue-collar workers and ensure they have the resources they need to thrive. We are committed to working collaboratively with both mine operators and miners to provide secure working environments. It goes on and on and on. You can check it out. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. And most of them are, some of them are 6 figures. A lot of them are 5 figures. So see how it goes. U.S. Departments of Labor, Education announced new elementary, secondary, and post-secondary education partnerships. The U.S. Departments of Labor and Education today announced new interagency agreements to break up the federal education bureaucracy ensure an efficient delivery of funded funds, and move closer to fulfilling the President's promise to return education to the states by partnering with agencies that are best positioned to deliver results for students and taxpayers. These agreements will streamline federal education activities on the legally required programs. Note, legally required programs. One thing we could say, love them or hate them, but let's be fair here. The president and this administration are only concerned with what they legally have to do, not any add-ons. And that's not only in education, that's throughout the program after program after program. If it does that, like the HHS, president's big on HHS, we see things going into not legally required programs. However, on things that are not 100% for, like the Department of Education, I don't think I'm saying anything that we don't already know. Guess what? They only want legally required programs for that. The new partnerships mark a major step toward improving management of select education programs by leveraging partner agencies' administrative expertise and experience working with relevant stakeholders. Now, on a positive note here, maybe if we get the federal government out from doing a lot of this stuff, things will be better. Well, they're not going to be able to weaponize these programs, right, with that. Well, what do you mean, Jim, weaponize the programs? Exactly what I mean, weaponize the programs. Look at what they've done with the food, with the SNAP benefits. Right? During the shutdown here, what did they do? We're going to cut SNAP benefits. We found out with those, right? They didn't fund them. We found out with those exactly how long it's going to take for us to deplete our food reserves and just-in-time food for at least a certain segment of the population, 42 million Americans that are on SNAP benefits. Well, what do you mean? So there's always a question, how long will it take for us to run out of food? The federal government and everything else. There's always a question. We don't really have that data. We have models, we have estimates, we have all that stuff. But on a wide scale, we don't really have that information there. And if it's there, it's like buried somewhere in a think tank or whatever. But I've always heard 2 weeks. So let's see. The SNAP benefits stopped November 1st, and we got to government started up again 2 weeks later. So we know that, according to media reports, food reserves went out the window with food banks and things of that nature, and with people having enough money put away with that in their communities. And that's when things started to get really bad for people on the on the government benefits was about 2 weeks later. So again, there's one theory, at least with COVID. Well, what will the American people take? Well, let's see what they can take. Well, we're going to have shutdowns. We're going to have this and this and this. Guess what? We ate it up. That's what we had. So guess what? When there's a problem, what do you think their next thing is going to do? Do the same freaking thing? Because, hey, with that, now they are able to analyze us psychologically. Guess what? With all this other stuff, what are the people going to take if we cut off their SNAP benefits? The answer, what's going to happen? The answer is you got about 2 weeks worth of stuff there. Just shy of 2 weeks worth before people start getting a little bit pissed off. We also know that it's about 2 weeks that the party in power, in the minority, is going to take 2 weeks worth of pressure from their constituency to do this. And there's also some talk that a lot of the states that sued the federal government to get SNAP benefits already had theirs already fulfilled, that we're the best prepared states, and they're mostly blue states, unlike the red states. I don't know. I have not seen empirical data, but I'm hearing a lot of people scream and yell about it. So conspiracy theories galore here, right? With that, U.S. Department of Labor finds New Orleans area restaurant withheld tips. Let's go back to that. to zoom in a little, right? New Orleans, a U.S. Department of Labor investigation found a restaurant that kept tips that earned by workers in violation of federal wage law. Investigators of the department's Wage and Hour Division determined that the owners of the restaurant, Chopsticks Buffet, kept all tips intended for the employees that were paid by credit card in violation of federal tip pooling provisions. The investigation recovered $81,681 in tips for 12 workers. Wow, that's a lot. Additionally, one employee was only paid in tips and denied $1,435 in earned minimum wage. So you get caught with one thing, your chances are you're doing a whole bunch of other illegal stuff. All right, we're going to go and take a break and switch on over to EPA news with that. Okay, maybe not. Hit the wrong button.
Safety Wars is streaming now.
SafetyFM.com.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
OSHA recordables, catastrophic losses, environmental disasters. You want answers? So do I. This is Jim Posel with Safety Wars.
That's my daddy!
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
You are listening to Safety Wars.
Tomorrow's Safety Today.
Okay, we are back. Got a lot of stuff. I really need to download a lot of stuff and redo some stuff here because we're getting better as we go along here with what we're doing. At least I hope to God we're getting better. Who knows?
Welcome to the world of safety struggles.
All right.
Originally from the Chinese Cultural Revolution, these sessions were
So we're going to head on over and finish off with some EPA news. But I tell you what,
verbally and physically abused, all to break
a lot of stuff going on out here. So
to today. In some workplaces,
where was it? I think it was last night, or was it today?
Deflecting blame from themselves. Imagine the
psychological
toll, the stress, the fear, the
on the 14th.
But here's the truth: your safety
now,
will never be weaponized.
I made the comment a while back on
Let's expose the brutal truth and demand a safer, more
Administrator Lee Zeldin that I've been getting around to all 50 states. And here is the thing, right? So let's play the YouTube video on this.
When I was confirmed earlier this year as EPA administrator, I decided that as soon as possible, I was going to make the time to visit all 50 states to hear directly from Americans across the country to ensure EPA is best fighting for you and your families. From business owners to trade workers, elected officials to residents impacted by environmental challenges, I've been soliciting feedback on any and every way the Trump EPA can fix everything. I'm pleased today to report that over the past 9.5 months, I've now participated in EPA activities in all 50 states. As a direct result, we've signed a historic MOU with Mexico to permanently end raw sewage flowing into Southern California, reduced 2 years off the remediation timeline at the West Lake landfill in St. Louis, Missouri, rescinded Section 179B guidance on international air pollution to help states like Utah and Arizona, released new guidance on diesel exhaust fluid, commonly referred to as DEF, so farmers and truckers from Georgia to Iowa don't have to deal with deratement slowing them down. From Alaska to Texas, I've seen the great ways the U.S. is unleashing energy dominance, how billions of dollars are being invested right here home for AI advancement and data centers in places like West Memphis, Arkansas, and Cheyenne, Wyoming. Groundbreakings for new nuclear energy projects in places like Idaho Falls, Idaho. I've seen mining operations flourish in Utah and Kentucky, while cars are being built domestically in states like Mississippi and West Virginia. Early on this year, I traveled to California to survey EPA's historic wildfire response. Western North Carolina in the wake of Hurricane Helene, Maui following its deadly wildfire, and East Palestine, Ohio on the 2-year anniversary of the Norfolk Southern train derailment. We've taken lessons learned to better respond to emergencies nationwide and be more prepared for the next time disaster strikes. Most importantly, I've witnessed the incredible work EPA does across all 50 states, from Superfund cleanup and brownfield revitalization to removing hazardous waste material and our geographic programs. This agency plays a critical role in ensuring every American has access to clean air, land, and water. We have a beautiful country. Every single person I've met on the road takes pride in our nation and shares our passion for being exceptional stewards of our incredible environment. While I'm honored to personally bring the EPA to all 50 states, I look forward to continuing to get out of the Beltway to solicit feedback about ways we can continue to fix everything. No challenge is too large, no ask is too small. Together we are powering the great American comeback.
So that was a great commercial there. I'm not even going to read the press release. That's what they're doing. They wanted to, in my opinion, and we're going to have, I'm working on getting Paul Danielczyk back on the show to talk politics here. My prediction is that Lee Zeldin, even though he lost the New York State governor's race to Governor Hochul, I think he is going to run again for something bigger. With that, just my opinion, nobody goes to all 50 states like that without intentions of staying around for a while. My own read. EPA takes action against Apple for inadequate hazardous waste management. Today, the U.S. EPA is announcing a settlement with Apple Incorporated over claims of violations of federal hazardous waste law at a facility located on Scott Boulevard in Santa Clara, California. As a result of EPA's action, the company's addressed hazardous waste management and air emissions issues and has come into compliance with RCRA, that's Resource Conservation and Recovery Act. These violations include a failure to properly characterize the waste, identify lands, disposal restriction requirements, and provide written notification of the restrictions. Maintain a permit to store hazardous waste for more than 90 days, control air emissions from a solvent waste tank, properly label and date hazardous waste containers, follow hazardous waste container management standards, and perform and document daily inspections of hazardous waste tanks. Again, now let me point this out. I recently came across a plan myself where it said you will document weather in the morning and the afternoon. So they would have the forecast, not only the weather, not like, hey, it's 60 degrees at 2 p.m. That would be lovely where I'm at right now, but where you're actually, so what does that mean where you have to do a daily inspection? That means that you have to document it. Again, something people don't want to do with that. So glad they were made us right. Hanover Foods agrees to pay $1.15 million penalty and implement actions to address Clean Water Act violations at a wastewater treatment facility. Today, let's see what Hanover. We reported on this previously, I believe. Today, the U.S. EPA and U.S. Department of Justice, working in conjunction with the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, PADEP, announced a proposed consent decree with Hanover Foods Corporation. Under the proposed settlement, Hanover Foods will pay a $1.15 million civil penalty and take a series of actions to address alleged violations of the Clean Water Act at its wastewater treatment facility in Hanover, Pennsylvania. Who knew? That I guess it goes along with a food processing plant. And as alleged in a complaint filed with the proposed consent decree, Hanover Foods failed to comply with state-issued NFT's permit to operate its wastewater treatment facility in Hanover. NDPES permits are required if wastewater is being discharged into the water of the United States. So they're looking for upgrades and everything else there. Where are we here? 49 minutes after the hour. So what else we have here? Now, all right. Here we have, I'm reorganizing this here. Right. So EPA, again, we mentioned statutory obligation in the Department of Education section where we were talking about OSHA, Department of Labor grants. And here we go. Again, loaded strategy here. EPA fulfills statutory obligation. Completes, again, there, and here we have another one. EPA fulfills statutory obligation. In Vermont, a third one, EPA fulfills statutory obligation in Connecticut. All right? Again, statutory obligation. So what are they? So I didn't even have that. So let's do that again. Statutory obligation in New Hampshire, statutory obligation in Vermont, statutory obligation in Connecticut. Right? So every 5 years or so, they have a review of Superfund sites on the NPL, National Priorities List. EPA is required to do that. So regardless of what you think of the hazardous waste program or Superfund program or anything else, if it's statutory, you got to do it. You got to do it. So that's with that. And EPA delivers an additional 100 top environmental accomplishments. 300 environmental wins are now highlighted since President Trump took office. Again, let's see what they are. 100 actions, 100 accomplishments. Here is Lee Zeldin again.
The Trump administration's first 100 days have been historic. The American public made themselves heard last November, and we are delivering on this mandate. Promises made, promises kept. At EPA, we are doing our part to power the great American comeback. To mark this momentous day, we are proudly highlighting 100 environmental actions we have taken since January 20th to protect human health and the environment. Here are just a few of the many highlights. To protect our nation's waters, we updated water quality standards for 38 miles of the Delaware River Basin to protect critical fish species and keep the river clean. We approved a plan to further restore and protect Long Island Sound over the next decade. We also developed a method to detect 40 different PFAS in surface water, groundwater, and wastewater. Our team completed one of 3 in-water cleanups at the Lower Duwamish Waterway Superfund site and revised the 2025 Idaho Water Quality Performance Partnership with the Idaho Department of Environmental Quality. To ensure clean air for all Americans, we demanded answers from an unregulated geoengineering startup, Make Sunsets, that has been launching sulfur dioxide into the air to receive cooling credits. We approved 25 state implementation plans, 16 of which were backlogged from the prior administration, so that environmental requirements go into effect faster, and we addressed air quality at the border with air filters and monitoring. To provide clean land for Americans, we have fully cleared or cleared a portion of 4 Superfund sites to date. We reduced by 2 years the excavation timeline at Westlake Landfill, a Superfund site in St. Louis, Missouri. We also ramped up efforts to end decades of raw sewage flowing into our country from Tijuana, Mexico. We've approved WIFIA loans across the U.S. to provide safe, reliable drinking water to communities, tested tribal drinking water for PFAS across various regions to assess and manage water quality, and announced an expeditious review of new science on fluoride. We completed our largest wildfire response in agency history in Los Angeles, California, clearing 13,000 properties of hazardous materials in just 28 days. We also completed our FEMA mission assignments in Western North Carolina after Hurricane Helene and Kentucky following flooding. These are just a fraction of the many environmental actions we have taken in the first 100 days. Our team at EPA is honored and motivated to fight for you and deliver results. The golden age of America is upon us, and we will not slow down.
Again, why do I do this? It's out there. These are, it's out there. It's, they didn't go through all 100 of them here, but what the idea is, we want to tell you here on our show what the government is doing, and this is one of nobody else is doing. These press releases are out there. Nobody talks about them. You'll find them a week, a month, a year later in some a quarterly publication. We give it to you right immediately here. This was from today. Also, what they are saying. Leaders throughout the country applaud EPA's proposal to clearly define definition of waters of the United States. On Monday, U.S. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin and Assistant Secretary Army for Civil Works Adam Tell unveiled a proposed rule that would establish a clear, durable, common sense definition of waters in the United States under the Clean Water Act. The announcement took place at EPA headquarters with over 100 state and industry leaders in attendance. The proposed rule responds to the Supreme Court's decision in Sackett versus the EPA. It fulfills the Trump administration's pledge to protect America's waters while providing regulatory certainty for farmers, ranchers, small business owners, and developers. So what is the change of that? All right. Can we just say what the change is rather than all of the genuflecting and everything else that goes out there? All right. So here we have Steel Manufacturers Association, VP of Government Affairs. We commend Zeldin for unveiling a revised water, right? Gives much needed clarity. Okay. For years, enforcement of the Clean Water Act has been plagued by uncertainty and inconsistency. Right? Common sense approach. Our initial review suggests its proposed rules as a common sense approach, meeting Congress's objective in protecting genuine navigable waters. For years, an overly broad definition has created uncertainty. Right, so large puddles, for example. We've gotten into some of that. You go out there and you check it out. And that's all we have tonight for Safety Wars. And we'll come back to you later on. We're gonna, now that things are back to normal with the federal government, we hope to we hope to do what we need to do here and everything else. For Safety Wars, it's Jim Posel.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.